Not that this is a particularly exciting adventure, but I'm going to go down to the post office and pick up my mail. It is about 7:30, Mountain Time. I'm in North Dakota. I'm in the part of North Dakota it's on Mountain Time. So let's go get my mail. Since we're looking for excitement, I just walked down my sidewalk and I'm headed out onto the street. Because you didn't think I was going to walk to get my mail, did you? And I just said that out loud. I meant drive to get my mail. This is a neighbor's yard. They have better lawn than I do. Don't want to get too intrusive since I don't live there anymore. Used to live in that house. I rented it, thank God. But yeah, that's where I lived for 7 years. So this is our Catholic church. And other than that, we're looking up Highway 85 to the north. Let's look south. And that's south on 85. I'm headed east beside the Dakota West Credit Union and we'll visit the post office. Funeral home down there and parking lot for a bar and kind of a pizza / fast food restaurant right there called Wendy's. So walking north, they're doing some construction. They're replacing pipes and so on in Main Street, walking past the bowling alley. If you're trying to steal my non-existent funds, this is where I bank. And I have my home loan here, but that department is further north. More work being done here, if you're into that kind of thing. House for sale, if you're... Ooh, I don't see oh, there it is. Okay, they moved the for sale sign. Anyway, if you're looking to live on Main Street in small town North Dakota, there you go. These pipes will carry water up and down Main Street down the road. This here used to be the Super Value supermarket. It's moved to the edge of town now. But I've heard there might be a steakhouse going into it. I don't know. I'm kind of sad that we no longer have groceries on Main Street. I'll share some video of the way the store did look before it closed. Also up there, our theater. Larry, you've always asked about the theater in my town. There it is. I don't know what's playing tonight. I'll try and come back this way and look. Going up the side street here, Quonset. That's a sign place. Actually, they also made where it says gym, they also made my Science Olympiad shirts, and there's an old truck. And I'm headed to the post office. See if I have anything fun there. Of course, it's closed. It's like 7:30 or so. But I'm gonna pick up my mail. I've taken it down that way before, so I won't this time. Nothing interesting. I do have a package, but I can't pick it up because they're closed. So let's head back to Main Street. Okay, so that was our Super Value. Sadly, they decided that it made more business sense to be off Main Street and make everybody drive to their store. That is our theater. Told you I was going to figure out what they're playing, so give me a minute. So they're playing Guardians of the Galaxy 2 tonight. Actually, wouldn't mind seeing that, but I'm going to wait till it comes out on DVD. So the rest of that side of Main Street, our theater. Used to be a bar, but that closed about a year ago. That was a Western clothing store for real cowboys, but that closed. Owner retired and nobody's bought it. There's our newspaper and our Ford dealer. On this side of the street, I'm in front of what used to be the Chevy dealer. Now it's just kind of a parts. Down this way is the museum and the library. That's the library, museum. That used to be a steakhouse, but not anymore. and some other businesses, Wells Fargo Bank, our Economic Development Chamber of Commerce, and whatever that is. So here's another view of the loan department of my bank. That's, I don't know, chiropractor, hibachi house, that's a Chinese restaurant. Flower shop, that's also a coffee shop. A Western, Ricochet is a Western clothing store, but that's not so much for real cowboys. The unlabeled building used to be a hardware store, and actually that Ricochet used to be also part of the hardware store. That closed, that's another business outside of town. And then Has-Beens is a bar. Nothing too exciting up this side. This is the drugstore for now. Who knows what'll happen. The green awning. The red awning used to be a clothing store that went out of business because the new people bought it and couldn't make a go of it. There's a insurance, used to be an old office supply store. Insurance is still open, the office supply store is for sale. Another bank, and then there's a beauty parlor and a flower shop up there. Okay, this half of the clothing store is actually for sale. The other half apparently has been purchased, but I've heard no progress yet, so waiting to see what happens there. This was an office supply store. I actually bought a resume here, resume paper that I got a job with, but the store went belly up. The owner died suddenly, and they just haven't been able to sell it. Okay. Able there was it's a business. They basically give employment to developmentally disabled. That, next to it, used to be a Mexican restaurant. Two different ones, neither one could make a go of it. Northwest Tire. That is City Hall, Police Department, Fire Department. This here is a hotel. The new owners have really fixed it up, made it pretty nice, but when I moved here it was ugh. So yeah, they've done a good job with it. So again, there's the front of the hotel. Beside it is chiropractic center. Beside it, that white building actually used to be my dentist. They fixed it up. I don't know who's in it now. It looks abandoned. But anyway, and beside that, is it Thrivent Financial? It has something to do with the Lutheran Church, but I don't know what. And I'm just going to point you north. It's hard to make out, especially zoomed like this. But name of the town, and somebody just had to build their house there. This used to be the library, but it's not anymore. And I have actually taken you inside that grocery store. That's the one that is still loyal to Main Street and keeping the town alive. I'll tell you a little something about right here. I was actually not standing here last summer. I was standing right there. Let me zoom in where I was standing. See the red car? I was on that corner. I heard a screech of tires. So I looked out at the highway. Okay, you see the stop sign there? Right about there, I saw a semi stopped right in the highway. And the driver was out of the semi. He was looking all over underneath his front tires. And I thought, oh shit. He was going the other way from that one. I thought, oh shit. And then I saw a little kid. Okay, the little kid was right about here when I saw him. And he was running down the road. He was in his diaper and he had a shirt on. And I knew right away what had happened. He had crossed that highway and the truck driver saw him and thank God stopped and narrowly missed hitting him. Didn't know he'd missed. So, of course, this is Main Street, so I thought, oh, I better do something. So I came out to the little kid and tried to get him off the street, but of course he was scared of me because little kids are trained to be scared of strange men. And but at least he was running away from me toward the sidewalk. Luckily, a woman drove by right then, and he trusted her. So we were able to. She and I figured out where he lived. Now I'm not going to tell you where he lived, but let's just say it was in this neighborhood, really close. And his grandmother was babysitting a whole bunch of little kids and had just kind of lost track of him. and he'd gotten out. She didn't even know he was gone. She was in the shower. Those little guys can get away just like that. But anyway, we were able to return him home. So I walked up here to talk to the truck driver. He was sitting right by that sign there. He was in tears. And you know, when you see somebody like that just in tears, especially in that moment, I was pretty shaken. Yeah, I mean, you know why. He thought he had killed a little kid. So anyway, one of my students had actually been at the grocery store and saw him, and she was out there talking to him, trying to calm him down, and I was able to tell him, hey, the kid is okay, he's just scared. And we got him back home. But oh my God, those little guys will get away from you just like that. And to see a guy like him just in tears like that, that was hard. And you know, if I could ask for any of my students to be there right then, it was her. While he was calming down, one of the mechanics from that business right there came over, moved his truck out of the highway. And this is a major highway. I mean, this is Highway 85. It's not like nothing. And very helpful, because I don't know if I could move a semi, just so he could calm down. And yeah, we were just a lot of good people around right then. I guess if I have a lesson out of that, that's why you don't text and drive. I mean, if he had been looking down at his phone or doing something else right then, that little kid would have been dead. It was that close. So yeah, don't text and drive, as Larry Baronez would say. It's looking south on Highway 85. Looking north, there's an overpass over the railroad bridge. I'm crossing the street right now. And right here is our county courthouse. New building. Apparently it was necessary, but kind of cool. Don't you think? This is a flag depository made by one of my former students. Here is a veterans wall of veterans from the county. And of course, the courthouse. And I should just go straight ahead, but I won't. I'll just mention that White House, when I moved here, was a junker about to be torn down. The new owners did an amazing job restoring that, and I'm so happy, because I thought, what a shame if that house gets torn down. I'll just give you another quick view of the Butte, north of town. This actually used to be called Twin Buttes. I don't hear that name much anymore, but we have a plaque inside the school calling it Twin Buttes School. We don't go by that name anymore, but that right there is why we used to be called that. Okay, just behind the trailer is the railroad tracks. That last street is called Railroad Street. I'm not going to take you on it, but it exists. I'm actually going to take you down 3rd Avenue, show you the new hospital. I lied. This is actually called 2nd Street Northwest. See? I'm not paying attention. New hospital is down this street. It's further away from my house, but I hopefully won't need the hospital anytime soon. So this is our new hospital. It's actually built onto what was the nursing home. The red brick part is the old nursing home. The newer, not red brick, is the hospital. So yeah, that's the old nursing home. The chapel that was part of the nursing home, I guess you have to have one. And then the new hospital. That's the main entrance. How do I know? Seriously, you didn't just ask that, did you? Okay, really, you didn't just ask why that's the main entrance, did you? We'll try one more time, see if you can figure it out. Sign. Okay, you didn't just also ask me where the emergency room is, did you? Because there it is. Yes, I know it is. How do I know? I'll let you figure that out. Okay, there is the ambulance entrance. I have to say I appreciate that, although it looks like the ambulance has to back out of it. I used to be an EMT. I won't mention names, but I was at a couple hospitals that were interesting. You know, there was one that was kind of a underground parking garage. One that was a nice garage like this that you just pulled through. This one you don't pull through. There was one where you just kind of randomly pulled up outside and took your patient out through the weather, whatever it was. And you know, I think the garage is kind of your best option, especially with emergency care. But I'm no longer an EMT, so I guess I don't care until I'm a patient. Okay, so I could take you home by way of the school, but I won't. Trailer court, football practice field, and a playground. Back there is a football field and track that were built new. One of the options on the table was renovating the science labs, but they went with the athletic facilities. And there is the corner of our gym. One of these days I'll take you through the school, but not today. So there's just kind of the back of the middle school part of our building. The red building you see over there is a preschool. If I look north on the exact same street, there's the hospital. Okay, in case you didn't catch it from the video, the hospital has moved. There's a sign about it right there. Of course, I'm at the old hospital. That right there used to be the emergency room entrance. Hospital-y type stuff. So, old emergency room entrance. Yes, we have moved. That used to be adequate back when, you know, the ambulances were old station wagons. In fact, it was ahead of its time, but not anymore. There's the elementary part of our school. Down the hill there. You can just barely see the roof of the middle school. Roof of the gym. You can't see the high school from here except for a tiny corner. So, yeah, just trust me. Okay, sooner rather than later, I'll take you through all that. Just not tonight. I got enough else to do tonight. I just don't have time, so yeah. But anyway, that's where I work. Here's another view of the old hospital. This part, nobody is quite sure what's going to happen with it yet. There are forces trying to get the school to buy it. I guess they could. Doesn't sound like the school board, except for one member, is too excited about it. We'll see. But, you know, get them out of renovating the science rooms. Ambulance garage, but not anymore. The ambulance garage moved, so it's empty. That is the Lutheran Church, of which I am not a member for obvious reasons. That over there is the steeple on the Methodist Church, also of which I'm not a member for obvious reasons. All right, there is the side of the elementary part of the building. This part was built in the 1950s. You can't see the middle school, but you can see the library. That's an addition built like in 2013 or 14 or so. Beyond that, that's the high school where I teach, except I'm on the other side. That was built in the 1960s. I should say where I used to teach, because who knows what'll happen after my snide remarks. Music room, main entrance, and what could have been a science room. So there's the front of the old ambulance garage, and that was donated by the hospital. That's a daycare now. And they don't use real grass there. They use AstroTurf, which is weird in a way, but it makes sense in a way. There are people that want us to buy this old hospital, make it part of the school, but I agree with all those board members that are like, why? Because seriously, what are you going to do with it? And this thing is full of asbestos and problems. Unless they can get it for a bargain basement price. Better off not inheriting these problems. And it's not like we need more space anyway, because we actually have lots of land. And just in case you show up in a wheelchair at the entrance to the hospital, we have moved. If you're into spying and being creepy and spying in old buildings, that's a look down the hallway of the old hospital. I don't know what was in this part. Now, kind of interesting, this part here was the clinic on the hospital, and it was actually purchased by one of our local dentists. They will be moving their offices here probably in October. So I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see that part of the building used. They wisely did not purchase the old part of the building with its asbestos and other issues. And who can blame them? But interesting, in an old hospital, how many of the entrances, the only way up is stairs, and you go through the doors and more stairs. So back when this building was built, they clearly were not thinking of the people who might need a hospital. I don't know. I'm not terribly attached to the Methodist Church, but I do think it looks kind of cool right now with the sun shining on the steeple above the trees and the houses. So there you go. And one last look at the old hospital clinic. Old hospital, and the daycare with the AstroTurf playground. Which again makes a weird kind of sense, because then the kids aren't getting all filthy and disgusting, because that's what little kids do. But at the same time, I just feel like, isn't that part of what being a little kid is, getting filthy and disgusting? But it's AstroTurf. So another view of the Lutheran Church. And I think I'm going to walk west again, just for giggles and snorts. This is a preschool for, I can't remember the qualifications for getting into it, but it's a little bit different kind of preschool. It's for special students, I guess we'll say, until I know the exact qualifications. One thing that happened over the past year is they built a new playground here. This is, it was a house, let's say an interesting house with interesting people living in it here that's been torn down. So that part became the playground. The other part is just, for now, empty grass. But it's part of why I would prefer if the school doesn't buy the hospital, because, you know, we own this land that we're doing absolutely nothing with. We don't need more. If you're into it, there's the Assembly of God Church. And that way leads to Highway 12/85. And then I come home to my weed-covered little piece of paradise, if you want to call it that. I don't think I'll get any more digging done in the garden tonight, but tomorrow is another day. And hopefully my shoulder won't be hurting then. And since I did break it a few years ago, and it's that shoulder, and it was quite a serious break, I really don't want to aggravate it. So I will wimp out and not do any more digging today. But there you go. That's a little view around my corner of paradise. Oh, and in case you were wondering, this is the half a bed I dug up today before my shoulder got to aching too much. That's what it looked like before digging, because I'm a little bit better than a week behind in turning over the soil, and that's what happens when you get behind. That's the pile of weeds you collect. And then this bed needs to be done yet, but it's not quite as weedy, and the path there, I'm half tempted to spray some Roundup, honestly. And then that's what I've done, and there's my tools when I was still thinking my shoulder would quit hurting and I could get back out here and dig some more today. But better to wait for tomorrow than hurt myself, because yeah, it was a pretty serious, very expensive injury, and I don't want to do that again. So yeah. All right, so what did you learn today? Well, I live in a small town. It's about 1,500 people. It's largest town of the county. It's the county seat. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. There's no red lights. We have a new hospital. One of the grocery stores moved off Main Street. And you learn that I'm not 100% thrilled with everything in my life, but who is? I guess if you want to take a message away from this, and I don't know if there is a message really, but if you want to take a message away from this, it's wherever you're at, just make the best of it. If you can better your situation, do so. If you can't, make your situation the best that you can where you're at, when you're at. So, yeah, I will take you around the school, show you the science lab in question one of these days. And that's about all I have for you tonight, so we'll see you later. Bye-bye.